Hello again. Today's story is about a cup of tea in the Scottish Highlands and a faux pas. The Queen's View faux pas. Once upon a time, Julia and Chris made a tour of the Scottish Highlands. They visited many interesting places, including one called the Queen's View. This famous beauty spot is a high wooded vantage point overlooking Loch Tummel in Perthshire. Queen Victoria is said to have discovered this place in the course of her Highland ramblings and found it so pleasant that she stopped here for a while and asked for a cup of tea, as you do. However, there were no facilities in the neighbourhood, but trees and a beautiful view. The visitor centre had not yet been dreamed of. So, the Queen's faithful gillie, John Brown, had to run off on his strong, manly Scottish legs and find the nearest hovel, where he might beg a can of hot water to make tea for the Queen. He did find one eventually, and returned with the water. But by this time I think the water was far from boiling. You do need boiling water to make a good cup of tea. And the Queen pronounced her tea disappointing. However, the view does not disappoint, and many people come here just to admire it. Chris and Julia found a pleasant spot overlooking the loch and got out their picnic lunch. They had tea in a flask, which was properly brewed, although it did taste a little of the coffee that had been in the flask previously. Julia found herself sitting next to a tree, which had a little heap of something strange at the roots. Julia was on the lookout for ants' nests, but this heap did not look like an ant's nest. It was the wrong colour. Ants make their nests out of little crumbs of brown soil, but this looked more greyish, like ash. Julia was very curious. Why would anyone pile a heap of ash at the roots of a tree in the middle of a famous Scottish beauty spot? Was it really ash? Sometimes people use ash as a fertiliser, but it still seemed a little strange that someone would want to fertilise this particular tree. Julia put her finger out to touch the ash and tasted it. Yes, it definitely was ash. Most odd. And then Julia noticed a couple of people sitting nearby, gazing out over the lake with serious expressions on their faces. They did not look at all as though they were enjoying the view. They looked miserable. They were not making eye contact, as though this was their special spot and they kind of hoped to have it to themselves. Julia wondered why. And then she realised what it was that she had just tasted. Disappointing.